Well, hello everybody. Yesterday the FedEx truck showed up with these 4 heavy boxes right here, and you might ask, what is this? Well, this is a brand new top-of-the-line hitch that I'm going to install on the trailer, the truck of course. It's a ProPride hitch designed by Jim Hensley, and I want to thank Sean Woodruff of ProPride for sending this to me, and I want to also thank Jim Forey for recommending the hitch and for recommending me to ProPride. So without further ado, we're gonna do an unboxing and then an installation. And by the way, this hitch is supposed to eliminate all kinds of sway or instability when you're towing. So I'm really looking forward to testing this thoroughly on my upcoming trip out west. Anyways, let's do the unboxing.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV, yeah.
Oh yeah, and I was going to unbox this yesterday, but it was kind of a rainy day, so I decided to do it today. And I'm sorry if the audio is not great, but it's not all that feasible to be wearing my mic while doing this. And this is a heavy one. I did open this one up yesterday, but I didn't remove what was inside. It's very well pre-packaged here, like almost sealed in this kind of styrofoamy material here. Oh, check it out. Here we've got some heavy-duty bolts, and this here, very heavy-duty, heavy steel. Here we go. Yeah, this is the big mollón. Look at this thing. Ooh. Very, very heavy. Yeah, this is the main anti-sway hitch unit here. Whoops, almost got my finger there. And I think this stuff will live permanently on the trailer. Let's see what we've got here. Let's see this. Whew. Okay, let me show you here. We got a bunch of stuff. I'm not gonna take it all out right now. Alright, here are the all-important instructions, of course. And these are the sway bars, I guess. And it does come with some tools here. Alright, I'm gonna read up on this. Of course, I'm gonna watch a couple of YouTube videos, and I'll get back to you guys. Okay, I'm sorry I started without you. I removed all the old hardware from my trailer frame here, and the propane tanks, and I'm gonna get rid of some of this rust and repaint a little bit of it, as they recommend in the instructions for the ProPride hitch, and then we're gonna start the assembly. Should be fun.
You will notice that I also removed my battery and the battery box to make room, and the first step is to install the weight distribution jacks. They go attached to the frame with some U-bolts. According to the instructions, you're not supposed to make them too tight or you will bend the U-bolts.
Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to remove the propane tray here for our next step. So let's do that.
Yes, according to the instructions, most of the time you will have to remove the propane tray in order to install the frame bracket. It is very important to get this part right, because that's what will hold the hitch yoke later. There's another set of U-bolts that will go under the propane tray, which will hold the frame bracket in place. Measure once, twice, as many times as necessary to get it right.
So I have to remove my my propane tray temporarily to install this U-bolt here for this bar. And I forgot to show you the first step, which was assembling this part.
We then insert the main hitch unit into the receiver, and I know, it looks kind of low. More about that later. I actually get to raise it a little bit before the final installation.
Right, the next step is apparently to remove the hitch cover, so let's do that. Here we go. Next step, I'm gonna grease my ball.
Next, we're going to back up the truck and hitch up like you would with a traditional hitch. Well, yeah, what's missing here? I will have to reinstall my battery in order to use my electric jack, right? Moment of truth. It is time to hitch up for the first time. And at first, I'll admit it can be a little tricky until you get the hang of it. You'll have to play with the height and the angle by lowering or raising your jacks. Not quite there. Now I got it. And if you notice, as per Sean's instructions, I did raise the receiver a little bit, as I said, so it doesn't sit so close to the ground.
Well, I would say so far so good. Look how it looks. Actually, let me remove this from here. I mean, it's low clearance, but it's not terrible. And in here, it looks worse than it really is in real life because my driveway is not entirely level. So now I'm gonna lengthen the chains and I'm gonna take it for a ride. I think we're ready to take it to a level place for a quick spin here. This is going to be our first tow here with the ProPride hitch. Let's see how this works. I was gonna put the GoPro on the roof, but for this particular tow, we're gonna keep it simple. Let's see how this does. I forgot to put my towing mirrors, but for this little tow, I don't think it's gonna be necessary. Looks pretty good back there. Okay, here we are. I took it to a fairly level parking lot here. Should be pretty level. And the only thing I've noticed in my chains, I may have to remove one link. Yes, my measure is that the bathroom door doesn't close by itself. And if the bathroom door doesn't close by itself, it is fairly level. That's sometimes more accurate than the actual level. Here we are. I do have only about 5 inches of clearance down here. I don't know if that's too low. All right, let's continue. I'm not gonna be able to test the actual anti-sway features of the hitch until next weekend, which I'm going to head on the road. This is like test number 1, you know, to make sure that I hooked up everything correctly. Tow number 2 coming up next week. I mean, for you guys it's right now, but for me it's next week. Okay, allow me to interject here from the future, actually. Well, not really, from the present. This video has been actually 2 months, a little over 2 months in the making. You know, I've been testing, traveling, with towing with the ProPride hitch. I don't know how many thousands of miles. I've gone to California and now I'm on my way back to Florida, but I'm like smack in the middle of the country. I'm in Oklahoma City as I record this. And I just realized, I was editing the video and I just realized that I haven't explained the concept of how the ProPride hitch works and how it is so effective, and it is quite effective at preventing hitch. The ProPride 3P stands for pivot point projection. And I mean, I'm not an expert, but roughly, this is your tow vehicle, this is your trailer, and the pivot point is where your ball is. And when you turn, your turn trailer, follows you behind as it pivots. But then when you get a gust of wind, it pivots at that same point. Or where a semi-truck goes right next to you, it makes it pivot as well. And most conventional hitches, what they do, they use like a friction device, like a sway control bar or an anti-sway bar, and it prevents it a little bit. It makes it tougher for it to sway, to use that pivot point to sway. But if you get too strong winds, or that kind of instability, it's happened to me many times. I've had to slow down to 40, 30 miles an hour. It becomes really a white knuckle drive when you get a gust of wind and your trailer behind you goes like, whoa, when that semi-truck passes you at 80 miles an hour in Texas. So what the ProPride hitch does, and that's what I gather from the video. Actually, there's a video by Sean Woodruff of ProPride on YouTube where he explains it very well. This pivot point, what the hitch does, it projects it forward somewhere like in the rear axle of your vehicle. So in reality, it's not doing this, it's doing this. If maybe I can explain it like this: it's not doing this, but it's doing this basically. So that prevents, I mean, if you get a gust of 50 mile an hour wind, crosswind, you're gonna feel it a little bit, but nothing compared to a conventional hitch. So yeah, it's made for a much more pleasant drive. And let me tell you, I've driven, I'm gonna calculate it, but it's been probably 7,000 miles that I've driven on this trip. And the only thing, and you saw it, the only possible issue that I've had is that low clearance. And that's the thing, this trailer, the early versions of the Micro Minis by Winnebago, they made them really low clearance. It's probably a weight saving thing. I don't know what it was. The newer ones are at least 4 or 5 inches higher, and that's the thing. Even when I showed it to Sean from ProPride, he said, well, yeah, it's kind of low. And I'm 1 inch lower than the Airstreams, or a couple of inches actually lower than the Airstream, and the Airstreams are like notorious for being low. So that's the thing. It hasn't been an issue. I've bottomed out a couple of times at those gas stations where when you exit the gas station, it has like a bump, and then you hear it boom, hit the asphalt for a second. And also, well, you haven't seen that video, but I was at the RTR and I drove through some pretty rough roads out in the Arizona desert. And the road coming to the RTR, there was a big wash that went down and up. And I did bottom out once coming out of that, especially when I came out, which the wash had already been worn out by so many trucks and RVs going in and out, especially after it rained. So that was the only couple of times. It happened 2 or 3, maybe 4 times, I think, in the whole trip, in the whole 6 weeks that I've been traveling. So the point is, if you have a normal height trailer, it shouldn't be an issue. Anyway, let's go back now to our regularly scheduled program here at where were we? Oh, we were going to Lake Okeechobee. Well, hello everybody, on the road again. Today we're going to Okeechobee, Florida. One of the main purposes of this road trip is, it's like a shakedown cruise before our long road trip to the west. I want to test out my new GPS system here. I want to test our new hitch. We got the ProPride hitch, and so far so good.
By the way, the hitch worked really well on this short trip to Lake Okeechobee, Florida, but where I really put it to the test was on my 2-month-long cross-country road trip all the way to the Pacific Ocean.
Well, if there was ever a time to test the ProPride hitch, is today. We've got pretty strong winds,
and well, it is shaking a little bit. It's nothing compared to the tossing around I would be getting with my regular hitch, the old one. So far so good.
In 2 miles, take exit 5 for US 90 alternate.
Wait, I've driven 1,000 miles more or less with the hitch, with the ProPride hitch, and so far so good. It works as advertised. I mean, it's been windy today, and while the wind did toss me around a little bit on the interstate, it wasn't nearly as bad as I've experienced before. So kudos. And now I'm going to show you how easy it is to unhitch the ProPride hitch. First thing we gotta do, of course, choke the wheels. Okay, I'm gonna read the instructions here real quick so I don't make any mistakes. First, we're gonna lower the tongue jack until we take the load off the hitch.
Well, yeah, unhook the chains, and it does take a little bit of trial and error at the beginning, but in the end, I figured out that if you lower the weight distribution jacks first, it is kind of easier to determine whether the load is off the hitch. That's what worked for me anyways.
And that's it. That's how simple it is to unhitch with the ProPride hitch. Of course, I will continue testing this hitch extensively, and I'll let you know how it goes along the way. And for now, if you're interested in this item, just follow the link in the description of the video, and it'll take you to the ProPride website, and you can find all kinds of information about it. And the CEO Sean, he's very responsive, and he will answer any further questions that you have. As I've said, it's a Jim Hensley design, and it's kind of an improvement, if you will, on the original Hensley design, since you don't have to drill holes into the frame of the trailer, and the jacks are easier to operate, and it has better paint coating, and there's a bunch of other improvements that they have made to the original Hensley hitch. So there you go. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road.
Over the past 2 months, I have traveled cross-country over 5,000 miles towing with the ProPride hitch, and I haven't had any issues whatsoever when it comes to sway, either in windy situations or when a large semi-truck passes you at high speed. Hitching and unhitching is a much cleaner and faster operation as well, and I intend to continue using it in the foreseeable future. Only cons? Well, if you have an unusually low trailer like mine, clearance might be an issue, not a deal breaker, but something to keep in mind. Also, hitching up at an angle can be tricky. There is a learning curve, like with everything, but you get the hang of it pretty quickly. Let me tell you, now I don't know if I could go back to a regular hitch after not having to worry much about crosswinds and semi-trucks on the highway. Once again, I want to thank ProPride for providing the hitch, and if you would like to get one for yourself, follow the link in the video description or just go to ProPrideHitch.com.